All right, welcome back in. Just another football show.
Yeah.
It's championship weekend.
You know how hard it was for me to sit here at the table and let Ryan do that on the last one?
I know.
Yeah.
It's if you'd have done that, it would have been well respected. You didn't even do that.
Yeah.
It's championship weekend.
Yep. All weekend.
We're previewing the second game out here for the folks on the old YouTube and Facebook Live, or not live, the Facebook
for the very
video, whatever they call it on there.
First time.
Real?
Twitter. No, Reels is the short version. That's the
No.
Instagram thing. Either way, we're gonna be previewing the Lions and the Niners game, and we're bringing back on Danger.
Yeah.
Jam, I don't want to give you second billing here.
That's fine.
Jam's talking Niners. I don't want to fucking
That's okay.
anybody. The thing is, we really just wanted to do this whole thing with Danger. I kind of just wanted to not have a Niners side of this, but we had to have a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that would have felt weird.
So really, the team that America is cheering for this
America's
weekend,
team.
I think we've all understood, and Jam, you've accepted it.
That's fine.
We
America's
had to
team
go
in
pretty
blue
hard in the
and
paint on the
silver.
Lions thing. Danger is a great fan, has all the insights, and we had a lot of fun with him in the preseason.
He was dead on with the
Happy-
preseason prediction, too,
Yes,
by the way.
dead on.
Nailed it.
And
Nailed
we're
it.
happy to have him
Allegedly.
back on here. So we're going to do that, and then we'll get some bullet points from Jam.
Yeah.
Obviously, the preview's coming tomorrow on the 4Score, so we can't pick his brain too hard, but we'll get some thoughts, some keys of the game, things like that from Jam at the end. What do you guys say? Should we talk to Danger and just get it going? Because
Get him on the blower.
I am
Yeah.
I'm chomping at the bit, as it
Blow
were.
him.
That's not what.
Phrasing,
That-
Ryan.
Is that one how they
Don't
say
say
it?
that.
No,
Don't
don't
no,
say that.
Not that one.
Huh.
Anything with that.
How would I know?
All right, welcome back in. And for the first time in the history of this program, we're talking to a Lions fan.
Short- It's a short history for us.
It's for us, sure, but for Lions
him,
fans,
it's a long
it's
history.
been a lot longer. As we welcome on the show right now, Danger Morning Show's Nash FM 97.3. Danger, how are you feeling? Are you still riding the high of just Detroit being here at this point?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is something that I've been waiting for since I was 13, so it's nice.
Yeah, I know. I know it's been a handful of years, but I know the feeling. So I get nothing but when you see those Lions fans just out there living, loving what's going on. I light up. You can't help but just sort of reflect the joy going on for the Lions right now.
Well, you're a Cubs
Is
fan,
it all?
so you
Yeah. Well, the
understand.
Cubs. I mean, even the Chiefs up until the Mahomes era, it was just terrible. Is it all just happy to be here vibes, or do you have some anxiety going into this weekend? How are you feeling going into this weekend? I'm really curious.
You're excited because you're a game away from the Super Bowl. And I just feel like anything can happen in this league, even if you are in the underdog role and by quite a bit. At the same time, there's a part where you kind of feel like you're playing with house money. I was hoping that they would win a playoff game. They were able to win a couple. Now we're going to go on the road, a very good San Francisco team. I'm just happy that they've made it as far as they have. I'm hoping for the best. But if it doesn't work out the way I want it to, I'm going to look at this season as a real big success.
Yeah, I think that's how you kind of have to look at it. We sort of watch what the team did last year, and okay, they're building, they're trending in the right direction. They, started off not so great and then put a bunch of wins together. And then we look at this season, and the expectation was, let's win the division, let's get in the playoffs, and maybe they're still a year or two away from being to this point, but this team seems to be progressing in the right direction. I talked last week about not letting that wild card victory be the Detroit Lions
your
Super
Super
Bowl,
Bowl. Yeah.
and it seemed like they bounced back tremendously last week. And so I don't have any concerns with this team going into San Francisco not ready to play. The only concern I have is now you're not at home. You don't have the Detroit Lion crowd there, hyping you up. That energy level isn't going to be there. How do you sort of manufacture that in San Francisco?
I think the team and the fans have traveled well all year. You go right back to that very first game of the year in Kansas City, and the amount of blue that you saw at Arrowhead was insane to me. And then it continued to grow all year long. They played really, really well on the road for the most part. I don't think it's going to be a problem, them going on the road. I think they look at themselves as we're built for this. We want to be tough. the grit thing, I think, matters to them. I think they want to go into your house and beat you in front of your fans, embrace the Lions fans that do show up there. I think they love it.
Yeah, and they've kind of stepped in to be the team America's rooting for, right? A team that's been through a long stretch of not being very good, and now they're one game away from the Super Bowl. How does it feel to have a bunch of people jumping on the bandwagon, even now, as their teams get knocked out of the playoffs or whatever, jumping on the bandwagon, and is there room for more people?
I think so. I think it's cool to see so many people that are rooting for them, and especially people who aren't claiming to be like Lions fans for a long time, that are just saying, man, I really like this team. I like the story. I like your coach. I really want to see them perform well. I want to see them do something because they haven't won before. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're getting genuine, not I don't want to say the word posers because I don't like that phrase, but you're not getting the pretenders like, oh, yeah, I've been a Lions fan my whole life, all this and that.
What it does, it takes me back to that Cubs World Series. Like, granted, they're not exactly the same, but, like, there were people watching the sport because this is a story. Mm-hmm. And I do really believe that there are people that may not be watching football necessarily. Their team's eliminated, bad year, whatever, don't really care, don't like these other teams. They're like, man, I would like to see Detroit do this. It'd be fun. That are just sort of rooting along, and I think as I'm watching the Lions play, I find myself in those shoes. Yeah, they're a likable team,
and I think Campbell does seem like a real dude.
Yeah,
so I think people really do enjoy him. He doesn't really go to a podium and look for the right thing to say. He's going to say what he wants to say, and I think the players love him. They want to play for him and the rest of that coaching staff. So I'll be very interested to see what this game looks like on Sunday. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I want to see a great game. I hope they show up. I hope that they play well. I think that they can. But, man, it's going to be a tough game against, the Niners are good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this game is like or what it's going to be like going forward. Detroit's secondary has stepped over the past couple of weeks, defensively looking a lot better than they were at some points in the season. That was my question going into that Rams game is this secondary going to be exposed? The way Stafford was throwing the football. Going to be interesting to see in this matchup how that defense is able to answer. If you were able, like we had talked a little bit earlier this week, I work with Danger, so we did a little I don't know if you would call that like prep work or just talking football.
I think just conversation about what our expectations were.
Yeah, but it's defensively, like we talked about, who do you target? What do you try to slow down and stop on the San Francisco offense?
And that's the problem because there's so much of it. They've tried to stop the run all year long, but McCaffrey is a different deal completely. But I think they'll continue to try and do that. Try and take him running the ball out of it as much as possible. I'm trying to think of what tight ends have done to this team throughout this year, and I cannot think of a tight end that really torched them. I mean, it's really been receivers and typically like one receiver that will really go off, whether it's Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Mike Evans. So who is going to be that guy that has the potential to take the game over for San Francisco? You would say Debo if he's on the field, but I don't know if this is going to be a game where we're sitting back at the end saying, man, Ayuk is the one who really had a big game.
Yeah, and the vast weapons for San Francisco, which you pointed out, make them so difficult. The guy running the show is I don't want to say a local guy, Brock Purdy. I mean, he's from Arizona, but played here in Iowa State, what you know. But how does that feel going up against Brock? He's kind of actually like turned. I don't want to say like into a villain, but people have arguments about whether he's overrated or underrated or whatever.
They keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah. I want to root for Brock, but it's San Francisco. They're the evil empire right now.
There's a lot of local to root for in this game, period, because you have Hawkeyes and Cyclones on both sides. You've got Montgomery, Laporta, Campbell on the Detroit side of things. You've got Kittle and Brock. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm a Hawkeye fan. I don't know what's to dislike about Brock Purdy.
I don't get it.
And I can't figure it out a national level. And I get it if you're one of those fans that just can never bring yourself to like an opposing player. But you see the way Kittle and Purdy seem to get along. They seem to get along just fine. I don't know what's wrong with rooting for this guy other than this weekend. Yeah. But outside of that, I like seeing the guy succeed, to be completely honest with you, but not this weekend, no.
Yeah, we talked defensively what Detroit can do to try and, stymie this Niners offense. I think it might just turn into a shootout, and if that's the case, I do kind of lean towards Detroit. As a Niners fan, that's sort of been the sticking point. You've seen, can Brock do it in the end? Can they keep up? Can they put up a lot of points? If they're down, can they come back from that? One thing this Detroit Lions offense does very, very well is, for one, throw the football to Amon-Ra St. Brown. For two, get Jahmyr Gibbs going out of the backfield. And that sort of seems to be a way that you can attack this Niners defense, is sort of playing the same way that the Niners play offensively. Get some motion going. Get some of those little bubble screen passes. We saw San Francisco struggling to tackle in that Packers game. If they run into that same situation, I think Detroit's offense is going to just hit the cruise control and be able to put up a lot of points in this game.
Man, I hope so. I think Detroit has a ton of weapons. I know San Francisco does on offense as well. I think the Detroit offensive line takes a lot of pride in being able to show up and push some people around. I'm very nervous about the health of Frank Ragnow and exactly where he's going to be, because he's very important to this team. But if they can come in and if he can play even at a high level, even if it's not 100%, I really do like what this team can do. And I think for Detroit, it's going to be, we're going to come up with a plan that starts with the offense, and then we're going to need the defense to play, you hear complimentary football all the time, but I think it's going to be, we're going to set the tone on offense, whatever we want that to be, whether it's run the ball, stay on the field, keep them off the field, or try and find some of those explosive plays with some of the speed, Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, St. Brown. I don't know how healthy Laporta is. He's been able to play in every one of these playoff games so far. They signed Ertz this week to the practice squad, hoping to have him on the roster. I think that's more about the depth behind Laporta than it is about him. But we'll see what they have.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, the health, and especially Ragnow. But the way that went down in that game was sort of just what this team is. Like, he gets hurt, he's on the sidelines, he's pushing people away, he's refusing to give up his helmet, basically saying, hey, fuck off, I'm playing. And that's just sort of this team's mentality. I feel like it's going to take every little bit of this Niners defense, or even on both sides of the ball, to sort of check Detroit out of this matchup. It's going to be one of those, they are going to have to die on this football field before they are willing to just sort of take a step back. And that's what I love about this team.
You really do hope that's who that seems to be what they have tried to build. The whole grit, that's who we want to be. It really seems to be what they wanted the foundation of this team to be tough, to be smart, to be good football players that really are never going to give up and want to win. And it seems as though they've drafted in that way. Absolutely. They've tried to find those players and put those in that locker room. Now, you've seen it go the other way. We saw them play Baltimore earlier in the year, and it was just a disaster from beginning to end. So you've seen the blueprint of what to be afraid of, for sure. But I'm hoping that's not what we see on Sunday.
No, Baltimore's done that to a couple of different teams this
They
season.
really have.
Yeah, the Niners being one of those teams. Danger, has Goff done enough to this point to sort of cement his place? I know the fans love him in Detroit. Is he the guy that you now offer the money to, that you make your franchise quarterback going forward? Has he done enough to that? If he were to lose this game, is that enough to say, hey, you got us all the way there, you're our guy going forward?
It seems like he is for them. They seem to be fine with him, and I don't think it's necessarily like playing it close to the vest or anything. I think they really are okay with Goff there. I believe he has one more year on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So even if not, I think you would have one more year. I don't think them drafting Hendon Hooker last year was necessarily a plan to replace Goff anytime soon. I think they knew Bridgewater was looking at one more year. Hendon Hooker was coming off an injury, and maybe then we have our backup behind Goff and Hendon Hooker. I don't think that was a plan to get out of that Goff contract. I could see them being okay keeping him around. They seem happy with how he is. If he does have one more year, if I'm right on that, which
You're
I
correct.
think I am.
He has one more year in his contract.
Okay.
About the same amount of money as this
I'm
year.
planning on Ben Johnson not being part of this coaching staff next year.
Unfortunately,
I would be very interested to see a year of Goff without Ben Johnson and what that looks like before you make a decision on how long you want to sign him.
Yeah, Goff's story seems to mirror the Lions story, right?
Right.
Like,
It really is
cast
just perfect.
aside, and he was a placeholder while this team uses all the draft picks they got to kind of find a new guy, and he just steps up. He keeps performing. I've always stood on a table for
Yes,
Jared Goff
same.
here, so I'm glad to see him happy. And I think either way, no matter what I have, you look at me
I'm not looking
sideways.
at you. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at him.
There you
Oh, I've
go.
always been
Wasn't
a
that
Goff
first
supporter.
wasn't that first real big argument we had about Jared Goff's contract?
No, that's Matthew Stafford.
That was okay. You're right.
But Jared
Get the two
Goff,
mixed up.
Jared Goff already has to be like in the pantheon of I guess recent Lions legends.
I mean, certainly. I think Goff, even at this point, for a Lions fan, or I'll say for this Lions fan,
Fair.
there are a lot of weapons around him, support in front of him. He's not doing it alone, right?
Yep.
And I'm not saying that as a knock on Jared Goff. But what I am saying is you've got a really, really good offensive line, maybe the best in the league in front of you. You've got, I don't know where you want to put St. Brown as far as receivers in the game, but definitely top 10, I think.
Easily.
If not
Easily
top
top
5.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy does everything you could ask him to do. He has a chip on his shoulder that he uses in the best way. You have a tight end that is setting records for a rookie. I mean, even honestly, the drafting of Jamison Williams, you really haven't even tapped into that. Mm-hmm. They really are just starting to find that with him. And this second half of the season, man, he's looked better and better and better in each game. The concerns about him dropping the ball, he's actually catching it, which is a positive if you're a receiver. But
that's part of the job.
Speed,
important.
Yes, yeah. The speed, if he gets out in the open, I mean, so there's a lot that he has going for him, but to be able to succeed is important. Again, I think the one more year is going to be very helpful to watch.
Yeah. And obviously, I think Jared Goff is doing a lot to orchestrate all this. But like you said, Ben Johnson is the hot commodity right now, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Everyone wants a piece of that.
He'd
so
probably
we'll
be hired right now if they weren't still playing.
Absolutely. So we'll need to see what Goff can do.
Anymore, yeah.
That's true. At this point, for me, the last couple of games that the Rams played, or not the Rams, back to the Rams game, the last couple of games the Lions played have ended up close. Started out kind of hot, ended up close. The Rams game was 1 point. The Bucs game was
the Bucs game.
one
You were
possession.
ready to play video games. In the second
I was
quarter.
it felt like the Lions had it, and I was basically giving up. And then the Bucs kept the Lions let the Bucs keep kind of kicking around. Any concern with the Lions not being able to finish or not be able to put away an opponent or let them linger around?
I think that comes back to just what this defense is and still lacks. The joke that my son and I were using throughout that Bucs game was, cornerback. What's a cornerback? Because you really do. Their secondary is still an issue. When Mullins is going off in 2 games against you, throwing for 400 yards, you know that there's still issues there. And, I mean, you know that they're working on it. They've improved, no doubt about it. There's a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball, but not like the offense. And they haven't invested in that side of the ball like they have the offense. I don't see them blowing out any team. Even if they were to get up early on San Francisco, there's no way that I'm going to watch that game thinking at any point this is over until it's final.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way you alluded to it a little bit earlier, I feel like the same way. I think that we need to see this Detroit Lions team come out here, do what they did against the Rams, do what they sort of tried to do against the Bucs. Take the ball first if you win the coin toss. Go down the field and score. If you can get that early stop, it does seem like the Niners offense takes a minute or two to get cooking in the first quarter.
Week, yeah.
So if you can get up 14-0 quick in the first quarter and just keep going, I think that's the recipe for success here for Detroit. But Danger, you talked about it being the end, and this is the time where we ask our fans, who's winning this football game? Yeah, Lions fans have never done it. Who's winning this football game, and what's the score?
One side note on taking the ball first, if you're Detroit, is if you go back and look at how bad they have been coming out of halftime with the ball and the amount of 3-and-outs and the amount of time that the coaching staff has even said, hey, we're trying to figure this out too. They definitely are going to start with the ball given the opportunity because they know from the past we're not doing anything with this in the third quarter if we're starting the second half with the ball. So we're doing what now? We're making our prediction?
Yes, this is your time to shine here.
No pressure.
So we're doing how exactly do you do this? Do you do the winner? Do you do the final score?
Little bit of game flow, a little bit of how you see it's going to go, and then give a final score and obviously a winner.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is Detroit will start with the ball. I think there's going to be a feel-it-out portion of this game. I don't think there's going to be fireworks right off the bat. What I do like, if that is the case, then that I think Detroit can hopefully maybe settle in, be able to run the ball, be able to score. I don't think this is going to be all that high scoring, and Detroit wins by 3.
Hell yeah.
Look at that. I love it. I mean, I don't love it.
That's true. You can't say you love it.
The rest of America loves it.
As a broadcast journalist, I appreciate it.
What I want you to say though on Monday is show me what you bet.
Yeah, we'll talk Monday about that.
I was going to say it's easy to say that when no money's on the line. If you said later, show me your bet, you're just going to see a bunch of player props.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Staying away from that, I think, this weekend. But we'll see. A couple beers, I may decide otherwise.
So where are you guys at? I want to hear this.
We haven't decided yet. God damn
you guys are still okay. I'll have to listen in.
Yeah. We don't have to make our decision until Friday,
that's
man. Don't put the pressure on us.
That's not even fair. Well, anybody that wants to jump on this Lions bandwagon, I would say come on aboard and Lions by 3. I'll take it.
I mean, truth be told, we're making that prediction in about an hour, but you won't hear it till Friday. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. You asked about Jared Goff and where he is as far as Lions history. You jump up a lot if you win this game on Sunday. I'll tell you that much.
Fact.
You take them to their first Super Bowl. Yeah, you're never going to.
He'll be standing there right next to Barry Sanders.
Well, I was going to say Barry's got a statue up. He didn't get him that far, so
no kidding.
Now, don't get me wrong. He's no Barry Sanders.
Not yet.
Oh, I was going to run with the headline.
Not until he's Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I was going to run with the headline. Danger said.
I don't know if there will ever be a Barry Sanders. When it comes to my Detroit Lions Mount Rushmore, that number 1 spot is, I think, solidified for life. So
that sounds correct.
I think you could ask Lions fans right now, and there's probably just one player on that Mount Rushmore. It's like
Calvin Johnson.
It's like Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, maybe Matthew Stafford. And then it's like Eminem or Bob Seger or Jeff Daniels.
He's got a laundry list of names, Jam. He's been watching this team forever.
Barry Sanders, number 1. Calvin Johnson, number 2. Chris Spielman, number 3. And then it was a toss-up at number 4 on who I was going to put there. Honorable mention goes to Herman Moore, wide receiver. But kicker Jason Hansen makes it on there.
There we go.
There you go.
And Goff is fighting to edge out Jason Hansen.
There you go.
He'll have to be around a while. Jason Hansen was the only thing that I had to root for a lot of down years. The one guy I could count on was the kicker. So it's going to be tough.
He did say earlier in the episode that he was a Hawkeyes fan, so that carries over to rooting for the kicker.
These things work out. They all work out in the end. All right, Danger Man, we appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. The rest of America hopes that we're talking to you before the Super Bowl. Jam does not.
I mean, I won't be upset.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Hey, I get it, man. I won't hold it against you. I would never expect you to root against your team.
But the rest of us
But
are
you
all...
can root for us should we win this one.
There you go.
There we go. That's a gentleman's bet.
There you go.
Nice.
We'll all be rooting for you. We hope that you don't have too much stress on Sunday and things go your way. And like I said, if it all goes the right way, we'll be hitting you up to find some time to talk to you again.
I look forward to talking to you if they win it.
Love
So
it.
enjoy the game. Hopefully it's a good one. It was good talking to you guys.
Take it easy, sir.
Thanks, Danger.
All right. So we talked to Danger. Now we bring in what most people would call the evil empire in the matchup.
Feels like it.
Feels like
You
it.
guys keep using that term.
Well, I mean, I can do it here because it's not my. Simpatico, Jam. We're in the same boat here, but people hate our team.
I just don't buy into it as much as you do.
We,
you feel yourself with it. I'm just like, I'll be all right.
Oh no, people hate the night. I'm telling you right now.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I don't.
And you know how I know?
I don't
Because
absorb it like you
I
do.
felt gross about how much I was rooting for the Packers on Saturday night.
Yeah,
We're all rooting
exactly.
for the Packers. The whole world was.
That's the thing.
I wasn't.
And the whole world's going to be
The whole world's
rooting.
going to be rooting for the Lions. And the
Lions
whole
this
world's going to be rooting for the Ravens. It's going to be a thing.
The Ravens one doesn't make as much sense.
But just as it goes, it doesn't, but it will.
This is like the Chiefs are the underdog in that one.
I get it. I get it.
But
We reached out to some people. It was last minute. Like I said, we didn't do as much playoff previews with fans this year because it's a daunting task. It's a lot.
It's
of work.
tough.
And even tonight, it's later, much later than we'd like it to be, as we're recording these things. So, Jan, we got lucky, right? We got a Niners fan here. We can sort of talk.
we got one in the studio.
Yeah.
Also, Danger talked for a very long time. It was great. You guys just listened to it, so it was amazing.
It was it was years of
yeah. So
pent
we're
up.
just gonna let Jam bullet point some things. We're gonna let him talk about the Niners, maybe give us some keys to success, and get the fuck out of here. That's the plan for this particular.
Yeah, I'll
preview.
answer all of your questions.
So, Jam, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you guys
Good
for
to have
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Glad
Nice to
glad
be
you
here.
could make it. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not me.
Less than,
No,
no,
not me. No,
No,
never me.
no. Well,
not
you know,
everybody else.
You know, if your Bucks could have stuck around, maybe
they made it further than I thought. So.
Otherwise, we would have talked to Luke. Jam, though, like I get that your team's favored here, right? And I don't know
Yeah.
how good you're feeling or whatever. Like, I don't know that anybody feels great. Like, it's just, I don't know. The anxiety's fucking killing me, but my team's an underdog, so whatever. But like, how are you feeling going in, and what do you think the keys to success for your San Francisco 49ers are this weekend?
Allow me to take off my broadcast journalist hat.
Oh, he's going full fan mode.
Yeah.
Set that
you had
there.
yours- you had it
Put
on?
on my fan hat and tell you from a
Going
fan
full heel mode.
perspective how I feel here with this. And I will say I feel better this week than I did this time last week.
Okay.
Knowing that the Lions are a much better team than the Packers, I just think with the role the Packers were on, not that Detroit's not on a roll, but how the Green Bay Packers were winning football games, that is sort of the recipe for beating the 49ers. Being able to exploit the Niners' weaknesses, which we saw Green Bay be able to do. Now, the difference is Niners very good on red zone defense, very good on third downs, even better on fourth down in this game against Green Bay. I don't know if the Lions are going to be able to overcome that in the red zone. You know, the Niners play a very stingy, bend, sort of don't break defense, make you settle for field goals. I don't think settling for field goals is necessarily going to be in Detroit Lions' favor here against the Niners offense.
Detroit, though, with Dan Campbell there, you never know if he's going to go for it.
Yeah,
or,
there could be some
it's
fluky stuff
it's a
like
gut.
that.
So I do think there could be some stuff like that. This is also a time where they unload the clip, right? They
Yes.
send all the play like this could be it. Send all the plays out there. Ben Johnson is one of the hottest young offensive coordinators in the league right now, getting all the looks for head coach. I bet he's got some stuff up his sleeve. Anything like that worry you? I mean, obviously it's a good defense,
Yeah.
but we're talking about madman kind of status here.
That stuff does sort of expect it, but I do like watching the Niners on fourth down. I love watching Fred Warner just take things into his own hands with this. So I'm not exactly too worried about some fluky stuff. I think if the Niners can keep this defense in third and long situations, or this offense, in third and long situations, then that's the recipe to do it. You have to rattle Jared Goff. You have to get there a couple of times. Nick Bosa has to earn that payday that he's got coming, or that he received, I guess. So you're going to have to see a lot of that. Greenlaw's going to have to do what he did last year. Fred Warner's going to have to step up. I miss dearly Hufanga on this team right now. Like, that hurts. But from a defensive standpoint, like I said, force Goff to make a couple bad throws, make the most of them, turn them over. Play that stingy bend, don't break, where you let them have a couple here and there, but then you really clamp down when you get towards the red zone when it matters most. And I think that they're going to be able to do that against this Lions offense. The only things that sort of scare me is those sort of breakdown plays. When things don't go the way the offense is expecting, sometimes San Francisco is vulnerable to those kind of things.
Who isn't, though?
Yeah, exactly. Who isn't? But
Sure.
I think the Lions can take advantage of that. I think they can script some stuff out kind of like that. You get Goff out on a bootleg and then Sequip dump off to Gibbs that can then run. So basically what the Niners offense is able to do, I think Detroit can exploit that, and that's going to be like a key to getting the best of this Niners team is playing, for one, balanced football on offense, keeping them guessing, and then taking advantage of some of these breakdown plays.
If San Francisco is weak anywhere, it's the secondary, it's corners.
Yeah.
Really, they need like a second corner there. And Detroit has the number 2 passing offense, throwing over 250 yards per game. We talked about, Ben Johnson, but Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams getting going a little bit. Danger pointed him out specifically.
David Montgomery, Gibbs.
David Montgomery and Gibbs, and Josh Reynolds had a touchdown
Let's not
last
forget
week.
Josh Reynolds. Like,
He got like two
has
catches
been a
and was a
great,
touchdown.
Like, escape
Laporta.
valve, though, this season. Laporta's his own
Laporta and all this. So Zach Ertz. Oh my God, Zach Ertz. Which I hate the fact that he's there.
I do too. We all got all the nerves. He was going to sign with a contender, and then he signed with us. Like, God, of all the teams this weekend, you signed with the underdog. 2
teams. So the number 2 team in the AFC right now, or NFC right now. So I do think there's a little bit of exploitability, but even if that's the case, like, Detroit's secondary is worse, considerably worse than San Francisco's secondary. So, what is this? I guess would it be a bounce back game for Brock? Like, it wasn't a great game last year. He finished strong last week. God, he finished strong, but did struggle at the beginning of the game. Any
No,
not butterflies, but any kind of lingering effects from that? I mean, I saw a lot of bad Brock games at Iowa State that
I
had
think
some good moments in between.
You chalk that game up to the rest, the time off. You had to shake that rust off, and it took them a little bit to do that. I talked about it when the Niners clinched that 1 seed, and I knew they wouldn't have to play starters against the Rams. I'm like, this is a bad idea.
I hate resting.
Like,
starters.
it's a bad idea. I get it for a San Francisco standpoint, a team that health is a absolute must for the most part. Still no word on Debo at the time of this recording. I think just having, and it's weird being a Niners fan and then looking about the team without Debo and how they struggle offensively. But when then they have him, it's like, is he that big of a piece of that offense?
And you can
like,
move him
he's
around.
that big of a cog in that offense. Because there's games where he's non-productive, where he doesn't get touchdowns or a lot of plays, or maybe it's a couple dinks here, but they really don't utilize him a lot. But just being on the field, he's that big of a piece of this offense.
It's a whole extra
and it's insane.
thing you have to scheme for, I guess. Yeah.
And it's insane because a lot of the scheming is just motion for no reason. But it indicates to Brock what the coverage is. Yes.
It helps do that.
Yeah.
And if you have good, and it does give something that you have to look at. You literally just have, the defense has to look at it and go with him and take care of that, even if he's just standing there waiting for a screen that never comes. Like, someone has to cover him, or multiple people have to cover him there. So it is a lot that he does. It's part of the reason that the Shanahan offense, the Shanahan tree, is enormous right now. The guys coming out there and becoming head coaches, it's a reason that the movement and the distraction and all the eye candy
works.
It absolutely does. And my concern is that Detroit's defense isn't that great. But
I don't know how effective Aiden Hutchinson's going to be in this game.
he's a beast.
He's
going
to have to be.
He's going to have to be.
To me, he's
Absolutely.
going to have to be. Like, to me, the way that Aiden Hutchinson goes is the way that the Lions go in this game.
Yeah.
Like, it really, and it seems dumb maybe to boil it down that easily because there are a lot of other things. But
Just
I do
let
really
Trent
think
Williams have at
we watched him get back there.
He moves around a lot, though.
I know,
we watched
but
him get back there against
scheme your
Baker
offense.
a lot of times, and that's what you need to see. If you're seeing him on his ass, if you're seeing him getting back there, putting Brock on his ass, like that is a recipe for them to
But
stand
you
a chance
don't
in this game. Not even necessarily win
yeah.
this game, but to stand a chance
But
in
you
this
don't
game.
see
Outside
that
of that,
happen
I don't know that they do.
a lot. You don't see a defense that's able to get to Brock a ton in games. I think, Trent Williams has had some like 113, plays without allowing a sack.
Yeah, the Bucks last week allowed the free rusher quite a bit because they knew that.
And that was coming from the safety position too. I don't think tell me Detroit doesn't try some of those safety blitzes,
absolutely.
and it
worked,
and it
last
blows up huge in their face because Brock's able to get it off to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
absolutely good.
I do think, shocker, San Francisco probably has a better offense than Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
More versatile weapons and everything like that. But what this could come down to is the kicker. Jake Moody has been shaky this year. At best, he's a rookie, got nerves. We've seen him miss field goals this year.
Saw him miss one Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, if
It was
a
tipped,
game
but-
comes down to, I'll tell the Bills fans this, I'll tell everyone that if your game comes down to a kick, it's not your kicker's fault that he missed it.
Big
Like
facts.
win outside,
Yeah.
Win
But
beyond
it's
the
not
kick.
like
But
it's not like this game's gonna come down to a field goal and I've got Justin Tucker sitting over here, so it's a gimme.
yeah, any concern there?
I don't think so. I don't think it comes down to that.
We're not going to make you do a final score.
Yeah, I already did.
you'll do it on
I'll
Friday.
That's what
do
the
that on
episode's
Friday.
for.
But yeah, no, I'm
Listen
not
to the
concerned with that. I am taking the Niners in this one, obviously. But yeah, I'll save the score for the 4-score on Friday. But no, I'm not worried about the kicking game. It coming down to it. I think this is a situation where Detroit's going to roll in here, amped up, ready to go. Let's do this. The Niners, this is old hat.
Yep. And San Francisco,
This is
all the experience in the world.
Their third
yeah.
NFC Championship game under Kyle Shanahan. There have been different pieces here and there, but for the most part, a lot of this team is the exact same for all three of those appearances. So this is old hat to them. There's not going to be any nerves. Brock may be a little bit. He won a Cheez-It Bowl though, so that was nice.
They don't just hand those out.
No, they don't just hand those out. Someone like a Niners fan's like, oh, well, let's not forget Brock Purdy. Like, I was like half joking, but yeah, he's got championship pedigree.
Championship, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the moment's going to be too big for Brock. I think this offense is going to look like the team that we've seen all season long. I think that this defense is going to look like the defense we've seen all season long, at least since the bye week. And it's just going to be, probably a video game for Ryan.
Yeah, maybe.
It could be. I hope not for the
me
sake of
neither.
people watching. You do.
I would love that, but I also like a good football game would be
That's
nice.
not true. I fucking you tell me the Chiefs could win like 42-3. I'd take it.
I would take it, but I'm just saying a good football game is also enjoyable.
I would love Ryan to be watching or playing video
Yeah.
games because the Chiefs are murdering.
I would
the
hate
Ravens.
that.
It's just not.
I would love to see Darnold time in this game.
All right, guys.
All right, I say last thing before we go, Jam. Where can people find you? Where you at?
Well, you can find me on the Just Another Football Show.
I've heard good things.
I've heard great things.
Love to plug the show on.
Love to plug the show on the show. Listening to that, anywhere you stream, download. I heard we're going to be adding some YouTube stuff.
some
Sounds like some
YouTube.
more
Trying.
work.
I heard they were trying.
TikTok.
Trying TikTok.
Foursquare.
There was a
LiveJournal.
couple of weird weeks where I didn't get like best bets in, so then I just stopped.
It's its own thing.
By the time
Can't
I
lose
was
if
like,
you don't play.
yeah, can't lose if you don't play. It's smart. I'm still probably way behind.
Big fact.
I do think that the guy who runs the Twitter does a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal job on Twitter. We
all
got
right.
us taking
Good
care of things
content.
on the Facebook
He's all right.
page. Shout out to a Packers fan whose name I was going to give him a shout out on this game. I can't think of his name right now because I had that kite.
Jesus Christ! Why would you?
Matt? What's his name?
Matt. His name's
Matt.
Matt.
You had
Yeah.
one.
I gave you the moment to bail it out. Good work on
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And he will be joining us next season. I promised
be
him.
joining
I
us
promised
next
him the
season.
preview spot.
But immediately following the game, he sent me a message after adding me on Facebook. Like, hey,
He's
hope
okay.
this is cool. Hope I can call you Jam. Appreciate everything you do. Congratulations. Blah blah
Where's my
blah.
fucking message?
And I said, you're the real MVP. I look forward to those.
That's the reason we do these things.
To those.
All right, guys.
he posts every
Make sure you
week.
guys are checking out the podcast, all the things, the socials that were mentioned there, half jokingly, half not. Check all that out. Podcast, all the things. We appreciate it. We'll be back. Friday tomorrow.
Yeah.
As we're if you're catching this as it releases on Friday, giving you our previews, the 4-score, picking the scores of the games. It's going to be a good time. But until then, for these two fuck sticks,
Yeah.
yeah, this has been Just Another Football Show.
Bye.
See ya.